Hello, I am Mariano Gutierrez Alarcón and welcome to the 12th Man Academy, the show that asks the questions we believe the fans want to know about football. Joining me for this series is well-known and passionate manager Gus Poyet and our voice of the fans, long-suffering supporter Stephen Brown. Together, we will get inside the pitch and hope to answer your doubts about managing at the top end of the game, while we get the inside track of being a top-level football manager. In each episode, we get a better understanding of the thoughts, the decision-making, and the philosophies of a top-level coach, from picking a club captain to tactics and team identity as we connect the fans to the manager. In this series, we reference to past events as we use examples that were happening in the football world at the time we recorded this podcast. In this first of two parts episode, Stephen asked us, are you a coach or a manager? We left the last podcast, we left it with a great question from Stephen. What's the difference between a coach and a manager?
The question was, is Gus a coach or a manager?
The answer is, if you give me the chance to choose, I will be a manager with any doubt. And it's interesting because that doesn't mean I will coach. The role that I see myself as a manager, you got more responsibilities, include the coaching side. So no, the old style English manager where the manager was above, it was in the office, was watching training most of the time and not really on the pitch full time. My role as a manager, I see, yes, I'm the coach as well, every day on the pitch, in charge, but also with other responsibilities. Example, the difference between my role in Brighton and my role in Sunderland, clearly. In Brighton, I was a manager. The chairman, Tony Bloom, gave me the opportunity of dealing with so many different things that I was trying to deal because I thought it was important for the team. It will influence the team in any manner. It could be mentally, it could be physically, it could be, for example, when we started eating at the stadium, even if we were training across the motorway, I thought it was important to make sure that everybody was eating after training the right food. I was the first coach at Brighton. This is a nice one. The players love me. We started washing the kit. When I got there in 2009, the players were going with a massive bag and taking the kit home, and they needed to wash it at home. And when I convinced the chairman that it was important to make the player feel bigger and professional, like at the high level, just to wash and spend the money in washing the kit. And I remember the meeting with the player. I went down to the dressing room and I said to them, okay, here everybody, okay, from next week, we're going to wash the kit. And they thought it was a joke. They said, come on. I said, no, serious. They said, no way. And they were celebrating like kids because it was so important for them. Now, the difference, just main difference, is in the responsibilities. The coach, get the player from the club and coach. Coach, decide training, pick the players, plan the game, and it does what is worldwide known as the coaching position. The manager is very English. There is no managers all over the world. There is no countries where the figure of Arsene Wenger or Alex Ferguson can do or you can achieve, because there is always someone which is in charge of all the other aspects of the game, of the first team, of the organization, and not the manager itself. I enjoy the manager. My managerial role with my character and with my experience, it was simple. It was a little bit simpler because we had a budget and I couldn't go over the budget. I needed to make the team, the 25 players, 22 plus 3 or whatever it was, under a budget. And I had a, Excel formula where I needed to put, the week wages, and depending on that, it will come red, and I was not able to do it. So I couldn't go and buy players. I didn't have money. It was impossible. It's not like the club wasn't accepted. We didn't have the money. It was as simple as that. So that situation for me was easy. I told you the story that we wanted to buy Van Dijk. I went to Groningen to see him, and it was 3 million euros. It was our first season in the championship, I think, or just the beginning of the second, and we couldn't buy a centre half for 3 million. The 3 million was for the striker, and we didn't buy him. But that doesn't mean that we didn't like him or we didn't want him. Of course we went, but it's like it was above our level. But I knew because of the level. So it's not like Conte is trying to make a point saying, if you give me the money, I can buy who I want. No, It's about the final decision is going to be made in a different way than if it was only the decision of the manager.
That responsibility now is in the football director normally.
Yes, 100%, because he needs to be helping the manager to find the right place, but under a budget that at the end, most of the time, I'm not talking about particular sport director, most of the time they will decide. Example, maybe Conte want a midfielder, it costs 10 million, but he also needs a center half, left-footed, that it costs another 10 million, but the club only have 15. The normal situation, it would be that Conte say, okay, if I need to buy one of the two, I want this one, 10 million, and the other one we find somebody else. But maybe the club say, yeah, but wait, the one that you want is a little bit older, and maybe we cannot sell it after, or we don't have a profit. And the one that you prefer not to bring now, for us is better because you got the future, we can give it 5 years, we can reduce the money per year, blah, 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 blah. And then you have a conflict, which it doesn't help, because it's a conflict, because you want one and they want another. And that creates a little bit of friction. From outside, it looks like there is already a friction. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But for the attitude of the way that Conte expressed himself the other day, you would like to think that there is a little bit of unhappiness. I always said that the difference between my job at Brighton, my first job, with any other job I had, it was me in October, I will get in with the head of the scout. I will tell him the characteristics of the player that I needed. He will look for that player in November. And in December, first week or second week, we will decide the player together. And the club will do it. And we will probably have it the 1st of January or the 5th of January.
Yes.
Why the 31st? You lost a month.
Yep.
When, don't tell me that it's cheaper in the 31st, because I don't believe it.
If I'm coming back to the manager,
manager.
Rafa Benitez case is a case that, if I understand
it was
correctly,
a coach end of November.
Yes, and then they made him manager, so have all the responsibilities about the budget, the players he bought, and everything.
And
then went sacked.
Because the most important thing, it doesn't matter if you're a coach, it doesn't matter if you're a manager, is winning football games. Because it doesn't matter when you're going here, manager or coach. If you don't win, you're out. Not because you're a manager or a coach, it changes the consequences of your job. Business model is set by the owner. The owner is coming by the club and he says, I want a sport director and I want a coach. See you later. Then you accept it or you don't accept it if you want to go there. For me, simple. Now, if I'm the coach, I'm responsible for coaching. So if the players are not good enough when they come into the club, who is responsible? The sport director. He was the one who bought the player for me. Then you can say, well, you didn't know how to coach them. Okay, so you get down from the office and you coach them. And let's see if they get better. How many sport directors you saw coming down from the office and coaching? No one. So the idea is the relationship. Relationship is the key of every single club nowadays. If the relation between the manager or the coach with the sport director is strong, it doesn't mean that you need to agree. It's strong in terms of understanding. The clubs goes good way, no doubt, 100%. And you can put example like this Leeds. People talk about a local Bielsa. Well, Bielsa is a coach or is a manager? I think he's a coach. Now he got a character that make him understand and said, I don't want you to sell anyone. I'm not asking you to buy. I'm asking you not to sell. I want this group of players because he believes in that group of players. And if the club is able financially to hold that, you see that relation. Maybe they don't agree, but they're trying to make it work. I would say 99.9% they are very clear. Okay, they put the things clear. They say to you, this is what we do, this is what I want, this is what you can do. Then there is the situation that depending on, for example, like I said, on one side, you are the one managing that budget, and on the other side is a sport director. I told you a clear situation. You got 5 million, you need 2 players. You can spend 2.5 or 2.5 or 4 and 1. And maybe me as a coach, I want 4 and 1, and the sport director wants 2.5 or 2.5. And if he's the one making the deal, it's 2.5 and 2.5. Even if they're gonna say that the coach wanted that player, yeah, you need a player. You're not gonna play with 9. You need 11 or you need 22. You need a full back. So it's depending on the relation. I think the relation has to be excellent. The relation has to be spot on. And no, there is no better way to have a good relation between 2 people when both accept the responsibilities clearly.
Basically, do you think that now football directors should give press conferences as well as football managers?
Well, if he's relating to a player, why not? If he's relating to the budget, why not? You know, when you sit down as a coach and they say, okay, now it's transfer window is coming. I'm sorry, that's not a question for me. It's for the sport director. Why you ask me? It's very simple. I remember the press conference of Pochettino. I'm a coach. They give me the players and I coach them. And then the club said, in his contract, it's a manager. And do you, for a second, really believe that Pochettino was a manager making decisions on buying and selling players? Come on. It doesn't matter what the contract says. Not because there is a word that says manager, you are a manager and you're making decisions and you're in charge of the budget. It's a matter of understanding football. Now, it's a business model. When it's clear, it's easy. It's so simple. You're a coach. We're going to give you the players, you coach them. You win, you stay. You don't win, we need another one. Simple. So I'm responsible for the coaching of the player. And when I go there and I don't play well, I say, well, my way of playing is this way. I'm going to have to tweak it a little bit because unfortunately with the players we're going here and the players we're bringing, it's not going to work. Now, when you say that, they took it in the wrong way. Oh, he's complaining about the club. Well, I'm a coach. You give me players, I'm coaching them. I cannot achieve what I want. I need to change it. So at the end of the day, we really put the coach in a situation where is it responsible, but is it really? If you give me the chance with my character, I want to be a manager. Now, I know that can only happen in England because it doesn't happen in any other place in the world. Then, if I'm a coach, I want to have, as a sport director or as a head of a scout, an honest person who is going to be with me like I always say, like it's my wife, that we're going to have to live together, work together, win together, lose together. Not agreeing all the time, but understanding each other as much as you can because you need to do well both. And wherever is the good or the bad is for both, not for me.
Thank you for listening to this podcast episode Are You a Coach or a Manager Part 1 at the 12th Man Academy. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to the series, leave a winning review or a 5-star rating on the platform you're listening on. And do not forget to check our website at www.12asintheword-man-academy.com and let us know what would you like to know. If you would like to sponsor this podcast, please email us to sponsors@the12manacademy.com. See you next time at the 12th Man Academy.